everybody, and welcome back to another episode of First and Last. My name is Josh, and this week we've got Joe.
Hey, man.
And we've got our good DiGiorno dude, Jimmy.
What is it that is up?
Hello, sirs.
Hey. Sup?
How's year 42 of COVID going for everybody?
Oh, God. It does feel like that.
It's a mid-tier year.
Mid-tier? Like you're like you've had worse years for sure? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
How?
Okay.
Did you die?
I didn't.
Did you die? What? Yeah, have you died?
I think mid-tier is just the bottom. I'm just rounded everything up.
Oh, okay.
There's
Okay.
a curve.
I feel like I watched like a video of someone like saying like 2017, like fuck that year, I want to be done with it, and I'm just like giggling a little bit. I mean, in general, I think it's kind of funny that people, I think at the end of every year for like the last probably 5 to 10 years, pretty much everyone's like so happy to be ready for the next year because the year that just happened was so shitty, you know, for like, you know, probably various reasons, but no like maybe giant overall reason. But I think like this actually can be the year that everyone's like, God, can we be done?
Well,
I don't know,
by
man.
the time
we'll
this,
see how election goes.
yeah, I was gonna say by the time this pod comes out, like
Yeah.
election day will be come and gone, and spooky month is gone.
Ugh.
Right.
This.
Right.
Yeah. All the more
Election day
reasons to
might
have a
be
great episode.
Right. Election day might have come and gone when this comes out, but there's no possible way there will be a winner declared.
Yeah,
not.
I was hesitant to say that the election was over, but just that election
Right.
day has come and
In
gone.
reality, the election probably has just begun the Thursday after the election when this comes out.
Yeah. Some stuff, I suppose. We'll probably know some elections, right? Your local.
Yeah.
yeah.
we'll know
Those
some
ones will
things.
probably be counted.
I was like going through a list of the states and like when they approximately will report, and some states are like, yeah, well, we'll have like most of it done by Friday, and I'm like, Friday, my man. And it's not even like a thing of like where like, oh, there's still like votes coming in. It's just like, no, we start counting early, but we're just taking our time. We'll be done by Friday.
I mean, there is a
counting.
lot of. It all depends. It's just so weird that it seems that like states in general don't have like clear rules yet. Like as of date of recording October 29th, like 5 days before an election happens. Like states don't have a clear rule as in like, okay, if you have this your ballot in by this day, it's postmarked by this day. Some of them are like it still has to be received by the government by like a day after or a couple days after or whatever. There's just like no.
Yeah.
I don't think every single state has like clear cut rules.
Wisconsin
just insane.
just voted to not accept any ballots after November 3rd.
I'm also shocked just in general if it's October
In the
29th
mail.
and you're not planning on like going to vote in person. Like now, if you can't vote early or you're not going to vote on the day, if you still think like on the Thursday before the election this year that you're like, oh, I'll mail it in. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
Like I mailed my ballot in like a month ago.
Yeah.
Over a month ago. And I've checked multiple times just to like make sure that it's like, yeah, it's counted. We're good. Like it says it's counted already. So
Yeah.
but I'm just like, who's sitting on it and not mailing it in?
Yeah,
like,
that's some strong like institutional faith that you're just like, yeah, well, they say they'll count it. I'll just mail it in. We'll see.
yeah. So I think it's definitely like a problem on the government in general, which I just don't understand why anybody why it's hard to vote or like why they need to make it hard to vote, on either side. Either party, no matter what you are, just like if you're a citizen, and you're legally allowed to vote, why is it hard? It shouldn't be hard. It should be like a national holiday over the weekend. should be.
Yeah,
you know?
I think there's clearly a major party with an incentive to not have people vote. I don't think they're really trying to hide that anymore.
Yeah, I mean, no, I get it. It's just fucking
Were they trying
insane,
to hide it
you
ever?
know? Yeah, I didn't know they were trying to hide
Maybe
it before. But I mean, even then,
Yeah.
it's still just like there's gerrymandering by both sides for stuff like that, and that's just
Well,
like playing the game, which is bullshit. Also, but
Yeah.
it's just like, just make it easy for people to vote.
No, yeah.
It's
To
just
be
like,
fair,
come
I
on.
did see something about like AOC was doing his speech in Brooklyn about like the lines and stuff, and she was like, just because this is a blue state doesn't mean there's not voter suppression here. Like, making it hard to vote here is still voter suppression.
Right. Right. And I mean, and here's the deal. Like, if a majority of Americans and they want like a thing that I don't want or whatever, I still don't think that is a good reason to like try to make it hard for people that are like legitimately should be able to go vote that want to do it.
Seems like it would be unconstitutional to make it hard for
Yeah.
them to vote.
Seems like it would be against
One would seem.
this sort of democratic nation that we pretend to be having. You know, this great experiment seems to be meddled by the people that are in charge. I don't get it. Well, that was a fun intro. Joe, what's this podcast about, though, for people that don't want to be sad forever?
I just love that a person on November 4th is just like, man, I've been listening to so much election shit. I just need to listen to a TV show pod, and they put this on.
Oh, you poor bastards.
Yeah, you dumbass. Welcome to First and Last. We take a TV show.
We hate you.
We insult you. And then we take a TV show and watch only the first and only the last episode. Nothing in between. We just want to see what happens in the end.
We really just want to see the world burn. And thank you for listening. We appreciate you. And no matter who you voted for, you're still a human being. And I hope it was
As far
easy
as we
for you
know.
to vote.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This approach to TV it's like one step above reading Wikipedia. Just the bare minimum effort.
This is a 1 hour Cliff's Notes. Is that what it is? Is that what those were called back in the day?
Is that what those are called? I never read
Sparks
that. I
Notes?
totally read all the books.
They were Spark Notes. It's Cliff, yeah.
Was it Cliff Notes?
I don't know if it's
Cliff, like a
Cliff
Cliff
or
palette?
Cliffs.
Is like is your sophomore year English teacher listening or something?
I don't know who that is. My memory's not amazing anymore, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
But I don't. Yeah, but so that's what I was saying is that this podcast is just the Cliff's Notes of in audio form. Give us an hour and we'll tell you what happened, and you'll get an A on the report.
Mm-hmm.
Your number one
Hey.
educational podcast, First and Last.
No prerequisites.
Good thing you're writing a book report on Are You Afraid of the Dark?
And your teacher won't notice because it's COVID and she's totally phoning it in right now.
Yeah, just ask Claire. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. If I know anything about Claire, she's probably stressing hard about school, trying to do a really good job. But it's Jimmy's show this week, right?
Yo, yeah. So,
Jimmy's show. What did he pick, though? That's
So-
the question.
Yeah, so I just really think we all just need a win today. So I just wanted to throw out there, I've been scheming this show for weeks and months. Do you
Wow.
guys know this? Did you know this?
Long-term booking.
Yeah, no, I didn't. I mean, I didn't know your schemes. You didn't let us in.
Every show that I've picked in the last 3 months has featured a different actress from this show.
Every show?
Every show I
Inclu-
picked for 3 months.
including your scary show.
Yeah,
Your
we'll
Spooky
get
Month
there.
show?
So it started with one of
What
my
show is
favorite
Drew Barrymore in?
Gotham.
Okay.
Then we went to The Terminator. Sarah Connor. I'm not going to try it.
No, say it. Say the whole thing.
The Sarah Connor Chronicles.
Whew.
Was that right? I think
It's
I said it right. Stargate Atlantis. and then Santa Clarita. Clarita. We never actually heard them say it in the show.
Santa
Yeah.
Clarita Diet.
I think that would be the Spanish, but that's not really how they say it in. They don't really say it. Anyway, okay, so in Gotham starred Morena Baccarin.
She's dope. Oh wait, are we watching Firefly?
Terminator, starring the Terminator Summer Glau.
We're watching Firefly.
And it's Stargate Atlantis with Jewel Stady. I never learned how to say her name either.
We're watching Firefly.
Spooky month was really the piece de resistance because I was like, that really threw a wrench in the gears. Is that a saying?
Here, give me a
Wrench
second.
in the spokes.
Nathan Fillion, who
Nathan
was in
Fillion.
Santa Clarita Diet.
But then he was in the pilot. Then he becomes a zombie, and in the finale is voiced by Alan Tudyk. Also,
Who is also
so 2 for 1 in the same character in the same
was good.
show.
way to go.
So I've been working on this for a while, waiting to see if anyone was going to catch on.
Joe, do you have a guess on what show it is?
Well, you said Firefly, and if it is, I'm gonna say up front, like usually when the show is announced, I like go right to Wikipedia and like look up some facts and stuff. This time I'm not going to because it seems like you guys know things about Firefly and I know nothing, so maybe I should stay completely clean.
Ooh, I like
Yeah,
it.
so if we're gonna go full transparency here, in a full like my mind, I haven't watched all of this show in a very long time, but I have seen all of it, and it is fantastic and amazing. And I'm a very happy boy right now.
So one season, 2002 to 2003.
One season.
Yeah. It's a Joss Whedon show. He doesn't get very far
Gets no respect.
unless he's making Buffy. They don't let him finish the show.
Was there like a
Yeah.
bring the show back movement?
Yes. And that's why there is also a movie that is really great called Serenity.
which is awesome.
So one
But the
season and a
movie the movie is a pretty solid standalone movie.
Okay.
Yeah. Right.
Fun fact, I know this just off the top of my head, is that the very first episode of this TV show, number 1, has a name. Number 2, the name of it is Serenity, like the movie's title.
Oh, okay.
I just literally know that. Because I think I was on, because this is on Hulu, I know that.
Yeah.
And I was like thinking about like maybe not even 2 months ago, I was like, I should rewatch Firefly. And the first episode is called
Yeah, you
Serenity.
should.
So
Yeah, you
and
should.
now I might, especially.
Yeah, I don't know. I was
I mean,
gonna
I get-
say, do you know what it aired on? I can't remember.
I assumed it was Fox, but I don't know why I thought that.
I could
assumed
see
like
that.
WB or something.
Yeah, original network, Fox.
Mhm.
I'm on Wikipedia. I'm on Wikipedia now. Don't worry, Joe. I got you.
Okay.
Yeah, 1 season, 14 episodes. Was originally on Fox. It was just literally September 20th to December 20th in 2002.
And I'm assuming that by the end the ratings weren't good enough to keep it going, but like it had quite the cult following. And I'm surprised it wasn't one of those shows that like where it just hopped to sci-fi or something.
Mhm.
Right. Yeah, it
It very easily
doesn't-
could have and done well.
yeah, this is true. I don't quite see the like the numbers. Sometimes Wikipedia says like what the viewing numbers were. And I
Right.
don't quite see that on the episodes at the moment, so that's a bummer. But so I couldn't tell you whether or not it did good or not. I guess Joe, obviously, I mean, I know what the show's about. Jimmy does too. What is maybe just kind of what your thoughts and feelings of what you just think Firefly kind of is about? And if you want to be so bold as to tell us what the first episode does, I would love to hear it.
So the things I do know is that it's like nerd shit. I know that
yeah.
it's
I mean, that's
What does
right.
that
If anybody, well, dude, okay, if anyone's listening to this and they were like, no, I'm not a nerd. If you heard Firefly or saw it and you clicked and you were excited, you're a fucking nerd.
Yeah.
I'm a nerd too. It's fine. It's a good show.
I mean, we're living in a nerd world now. Like it's
Yeah, nerds are cool now. So
like
it's fun.
the biggest movies are like sci-fi
Marvel.
and superhero and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So like all of that I would classify as nerd shit, but nerd shit is popular now. So, but I guess I assume it's like a sci-fi show. I'm thinking space. But with it being on Fox, that has me interested because it just doesn't seem like you could make like a Stargate on Fox, right? Like it has to be something that you could pitch in a sentence to an executive at Fox. So, and there aren't like big stars in this, right? Like it's not like none of these people were big at the time, right? Like Nathan Fillion
I mean,
probably the biggest
Nathan
name.
Fillion was the biggest.
But he wasn't even like
And I
Nathan
wouldn't say he
Fillion
was
of
big.
now
Right.
back in 2002. He wasn't in. Is that Bone? No, it's not Bones. What was the Castle?
Castle.
Like all the normies that watch ABC every night, like
Yeah.
they're like it's of Castle fame, and
Yeah.
I mean,
Like it'd be
obviously
one
he
thing
does
if
stuff now.
you went to Fox and you were like, all right, I got a weird sci-fi show, but it's starring Hugh Jackman. Like they'd probably be on board, right? But like if you're like, I got a weird sci-fi show and it's starring Nathan Fillion, like that's not gonna sell it. So it's gotta be like, and I'm trying to think of what other shows at the time, like my first thought was like, this is like pretty close to like 9/11, so maybe it's like a 24 but in space. And it's like space cops, space FBI, like trying to track down like a terrorist cell across the galaxy. And like when I heard the name Firefly, I assumed Firefly was the name of the ship. But now that I know that the name of the first episode is Serenity, now I kind of think Serenity is the name of the ship. And Firefly is the organization. So Firefly is
like Starfleet, Firefly, Starfleet. Or
Firefly is like intergalactic anti-terrorism. Serenity is the ship, and they're trying to track down some group that blew up an entire planet.
The Empire.
One big reason, Joe, that I think potentially like a show like this, once you see it, would even potentially even got picked up, is something like Joss Whedon, who is obviously he's an executive producer, and I believe he's just the creator of the show.
Yeah.
I'd have to go back, but he just came off of, or was technically still credited as, EP on Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which ran from until May 2003.
Okay.
So we're in like season 6 or so, or maybe even the final season of Buffy already, with Angel having gone the spin-off series probably in like its second or third season already. So if anything, I'm assuming that they were like, Joss Whedon, Buffy and Angel are huge on the CW or the WB or whatever it technically was on back then. So I kind of assume that they might have just said, okay,
right,
we're going to trust
We're gonna run with
good old
whatever you
Joss.
do.
Little blank check TV show.
Yeah, potentially.
So
They
in
did
that
definitely
case,
throw a lot of money at it.
yeah, in that case, this could be pretty much anything. If you're just like, we just need the next Joss Whedon show because we think it's gonna be a hit like Buffy, like
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
WB said, let's do Buffy, and out of it, then they got 2 shows that ran for, I think, Buffy went 7 seasons, and I think Angel went 5 seasons. So, I mean, they got 12 seasons out of Joss Whedon there. So
I guess if it's not, in my alternate theory, if it's not a space show, and if it's like, I would assume that he wouldn't do like vampires or werewolves again, then maybe it's like medieval, kind of like a proto Game of Thrones. And like in that world, the Firefly is an anti-terrorist organization in this medieval kingdom, and
I would
Serenity
assume if
is a dragon.
a firefly in a medieval world would be some sort of like, I don't know, evil mage or something.
Red
Yeah.
Mage.
I mean, if I'm just gonna break it down. It's in space. So just
Okay.
just so you know. That part I will let you know. It's a space show.
Cool.
But okay. I mean, I think you have speculated long enough. I'm excited. Jimmy's been apparently planning this heist for months, so. We should just get into it. The first episode of Firefly, which is called Serenity, we're gonna watch that, and we'll see ya after that. Howdy, space cowboys! We're back from the first episode of Firefly, called Serenity. Before we jump into it, Jimmy, do you have a write-up?
I thought I did.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, here it is. Are you ready?
Yes.
Serenity, intended episode 1. We'll say that. Captain Malcolm Mal Reynolds and his crew aboard Serenity illegally salvage goods from a derelict ship. Because the goods are marked by the Alliance and an Alliance ship spotted an obsolete Firefly-class freighter leaving the scene, It says the word fence, but that can't be right. Maybe it's fence. Is fence a term for a person you're selling illegal goods to?
I don't know. I'm not a criminal. I don't know these terms, Jimmy.
Mel's buyer, named Badger, refuses to handle the goods. Mal has to sell elsewhere. To make extra money, the crew picks up passengers, Shepard Book, Simon Tam, and Lawrence Dobson. En route to the new buyer Patience, Dobson turns out to be an undercover Alliance agent tracking Simon. Dobson attempts to arrest Simon but is taken prisoner. Simon reveals that his genius sister River, hidden in his luggage, was experimented on by the Alliance and that he is trying to smuggle her to safety. Patience tries to rob Mal, but he takes the payment after a shootout. Lawrence escapes and holds River hostage, but Mal shoots him and offers Simon and River haven aboard Serenity.
That was some sort of post-reading jingle. That was good, Jimmy.
I love the theme song. I forgot how much I love the theme song to this, which apparently Joss Whedon wrote.
Yeah, I saw that in the credits.
Okay, he wrote it. Isn't his brother like Jeb Whedon or something like that? Like a music guy?
Whedon?
I think his brother's a music guy.
He does stuff. He does has producer credits on a lot of Joss Whedon stuff.
Right. But I mean, I guess right away I'm curious, Joe, what are your thoughts coming out of this?
You better love
it. Yeah, it was good. It definitely had that Joss Whedon charm that I've seen in other things like Buffy or even the 2 Marvel movies that he did. He did 2 of them, right?
Yeah. The first 2 Avengers.
Yeah, where it's there's action and drama, but there's still some levity and humor. Especially from the Nathan Fillion character. But it's not he's not silly or smarmy necessarily, but he's just there's just, I don't know, it's hard to explain. He has a little bit of charm to him, even if it's not in a Han Solo way. It's not quite that far. You still know that he's a serious guy. But just there are it's more of his delivery of some of the things he says and some of his snark or reactions to things.
I've never really thought of him as a Han Solo type until I think you just said it, and I was just trying to think about it.
Snark is a good way to put it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, it's when I feel and I see it now that you say it, but I'm I feel everything when you think about Han Solo, he's a charming scoundrel, you know? That's what he is. And then Nathan Fillion is half the time you spent being like, I don't think you're like that good of a guy, and then the other half was like, oh, but you're like really interesting and kind of fun.
Yeah, interesting is a good way to put it. He's not like charming, like kind of like seductive and fun in the way that like a Han Solo kind of is. He's a little bit more of an ass and a little bit less fun.
Right. I mean, he's definitely he's more on the hero side, but he is sort of an anti-hero.
Yeah, but he's definitely interesting to watch.
Yeah.
In a show format.
Well, and he's got that. We started the episode, which the synopsis didn't say anything about, where we're in like the war, this like previous kind of life kind of war, and so
it's like the space
like
civil war
general. Yeah. So there's like some like deep background stuff going on too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then even before we got to like the frontier, like it kind of had like a Western vibe where just like a lot of the music was like had a lot of like slide guitar and like fiddle, and I was just like it sounded a little bit like the Breaking Bad theme, and I was just like, is this some sort of like, I feel like I'm watching some sort of like Southern barbecue show. But yeah, then it started to make sense once they got out to whatever that far planet was, and there was like people in top hats and horses and and desert.
Well, and I mean, it's especially, I think, Nathan Fillion's character, Captain Mal, and then I forget what her name is, the woman who plays Zoe, the kind of like the number 2, Gina Torres, like they're dressed like cowboys, you know.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's a sci-fi western, like Cowboy Bebop from the late 90s, like Josh's little intro to this section. Or like, this makes me want to watch Westworld. Have you guys seen any of that?
I saw season 1 of that. I've seen season 1 of that.
Oh man, so good.
Yeah, how did you think, Joe? What did you think about the cowboy space mix and how the show handled it?
I guess I was expecting maybe more cowboy. I wonder if they lean more into the cowboy stuff as the show goes on. There was a lot of this episode was spent on the ship, and with it being on the ship, it feels a little bit more space. I feel like you need the wide open, like wilderness for it to really feel like a Western. That said, I was kind of surprised by like the guns that they have. I was expecting some sort of like laser shooters, but it was just like conventional like combustion handguns with bullets.
Yeah, no lasers in sight, really, was there?
Yeah, I was expecting laser guns while like riding horses and stuff. So it's really just like Western fashion. Well, I guess, and the guns too, but like,
and the horses.
But there's also spaceships.
Also, they're like dialect. They like kind of have that like, I don't know, like
interesting.
Yeah, they don't speak like straight up like learned people. Maybe, I guess they kind of like. They have like an interesting way of saying it, and they definitely put in a lot of slang. Yeah, from this.
That's some space slang.
Some of it's like space slang, but like
and
and Western, because I feel like that was one part that brought me into the cowboy stuff, was how
they also speak a bunch of Chinese.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which they got a lot of negative vibes about, mostly because there are no Asian actors in this series.
I almost thought it was like, I don't know, like a weird hint of like where Earth might have been at like before that people went into space and stuff.
Oh, I think that's totally the point. Yeah.
And so, I mean, I didn't think, oh man, why isn't there like an Asian person in here? I'm just like, oh, everybody knows how to speak English and Chinese now for some reason.
Right. I think it just called attention to the fact.
Sure.
Yeah, I guess I thought that like River was like at least like half Asian, and that meant to imply that like her brother is also half Asian.
Huh, maybe. I don't know.
But
Who's to say?
I don't know if either of those things are true.
But yeah, is it Mandarin? They throw in phrases like every once in a while, and I think it's to mean that like basically the Chinese had kind of won or at least been a big part of the space race.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I think it's
cool.
it also kind of gives a more like global feel to, you know, because I assume this is like deep into the future. So it's not from the view of just like these are just like Americans. No, like these are people from Earth, and Earth is an entire world. And maybe there is some sort of like global, you know, mix of languages with a little bit of English, a little bit of Chinese, a little bit of space slang where we say things are shiny.
Yeah. And you talk about the verse, the like
the
apostrophe
verse.
I love that. I forgot that they do
Like
that.
there's no way in the verse they're figuring this out.
Oh man, I want to start dropping that into everyday lingo.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if I had other impressions from this first episode. It's pretty long for you know, a pilot. It must have been like a big event. It because the Hulu version is like about an hour and a half. So I assume on TV that was at least like a 2-hour event when it first aired.
Yeah. It aired December 20th, so might have been like a Christmas type deal.
Mhm.
Definitely a Christmas episode of TV for sure. What we watched.
Yeah.
Not at all.
So it was not the first aired, but so the first intended episode, because obviously if it's an extra hour longer, well, 45 minutes without commercials, probably was meant to be the pilot.
Mm-hmm.
You would assume, yeah, they
Come on, Fox.
made a movie to show how cool this new show was. Joe, another thing that they talked about in the show that they dealt with at the end, but they hinted at throughout the show was like these like Reaver people.
Oh yeah,
that everyone's super afraid of. What did you did you think anything? Did you think that was cool? Are you like freaked out about the Reavers and want to know more,
Shiny.
or did they not do a good job of like getting you interested in these guys?
It was something that they had mentioned, and I figured would come up, but then when they didn't show up, I wasn't looking for them, I guess, because there's just other things going on.
Uh-huh. And
what they want you
what
to
did
think.
Zoe? I think Zoe described him to somebody, and they said like what'll happen or whatever, and she's like, well, if they get onto the ship, they're gonna rape us to death, eat us, and then like sew our skin into clothes or something like that. And then she said,
man.
let's just hope they do it in that order.
God.
Like that's like a thing she said about them.
Oh.
And I hadn't really caught on. I don't think I don't remember knowing that like sentence being said. And I was like, damn. That she said that on Fox, by the way.
Network TV, yeah.
So then I was like,
Oh, man.
okay, I want to see these people. But we didn't actually see them at all. You know, we only had a ship like come after
Right.
them. So it was kind of nothing. But they ran into them once and we thought they were gone, and then they came back and they had to do like a crazy like
ended up
space chase.
being like the final like climax to the show.
Yeah, it was the final boss of the episode was the Reaver ship. So, I mean, here's the deal, guys. I know I want to keep watching this show. Is it hooked you enough, Joe, or were you like that was too long and I'm bored already?
It wasn't too long. But I wasn't super intrigued. I think I just need a little bit more. I think I need a little bit more Western than space. if I were to like, fine tune this premiere episode.
All right.
And maybe just because like we've seen a lot of space shows, so I'm just like, cool, another space show. So I feel like if they would have given me more of that Western, more riding on horses.
Man, I think it's like so Western in everything, like except the setting kind of thing, that like I get a feeling of Western more than I get of space when I watch the show most of the time, with like the fiddle music that it plays all the time, and then their costumes, guns, and like dialect and stuff. I'm always like, oh, they threw some cowfolk on a spaceship for some reason. That's weird. So it's cool to hear that. It's interesting that like you think it's more spacey than Western.
It's almost like it's a space show in a Western setting versus like a Western show in a space, or it's like one of those, but it's not the other. You know what I mean? Not even sure which at this point.
It's a little bit of both of those examples. Maybe. There's a percentage there. It's not 50-50 for sure. But it's funny that my over 50% I think is even different than Joe's. And now I'll be curious to see if maybe Joe watches the rest of this show after we finish the finale. If like his thought changes. Like maybe I've seen the whole show, so I think more Western than space, and Joe's only seen one episode. So he thinks more space than Western.
I mean,
so
they
is
were
it just
on horses and there was a shootout? What's more Western than that, Joe?
Yeah, I mean that part.
That
part I love, but it took some time to get there.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and in between that, they played fiddle and stuff. So come on. Kaylee is like super Southern talk, basically. She's like a Georgia peach, or so Southern gal. Well, I mean, we didn't kind of do it. We kind of talked about all of our like thoughts about the show or whatever, but we didn't actually talk about like run through the cast. So we're kind of doing this backwards.
Oh, right.
But I suppose before we like do our predictions, we should probably just say who the main cast is, so that when people have character predictions, the audience has heard them before. So there's Nathan Fillion, who's Captain Malcolm Reynolds.
Call him Mal.
The main cowboy character of this space show. Gina Torres is Zoe, and she's like the second in command. And then she's married to Wash. What is his? That's Alan Tudyk, right?
He's like
Jimmy?
the pilot. Yeah,
And he's the pilot.
That's Alan Tudyk. He's so great. He had a great. This show like started with a great Alan Tudyk scene where he's like talking, and then you realize, I mean, he's sitting at the pilot chair. What would that be considered?
The helm
or something.
The helm.
He's at the helm. Yeah, he's flying the ship, and then you realize that he's actually just like acting out like his dinosaur action figures, and he's not talking to anybody. And he's such a great like voice actor. Oh man, it's classic. Okay, keep going.
Okay. And then we have one of the lesser Baldwins, Adam Baldwin.
He's not related to those Baldwins. He might actually be the biggest actor on the show at the time. He was in X-Files.
He really? Oh, was he? Oh, I know who he is now. Okay, fun. I didn't. I didn't know that he wasn't of the Baldwin clan.
No, I don't think so. Maybe a distant cousin.
He kind of looks like Alec. I feel like he kind of looks like whatever. He plays Jane, who's part of the crew. And I guess in this episode we didn't talk about him really at all. But he's just a paid member of the crew. He's been there for a while, it sounds like. But he had like an opportunity to double cross Mal to get like paid by the Alliance guy, and he didn't. And at the end they had a little meeting, him and Mal, and he was like, why didn't you turn on me? And he was like, the money wasn't good enough. That was fun. So then there's an implication that, that could be an issue later on. So I liked that. And then there's Jewel State. She played Kaylee, the engineer. And then there was, I think it's named Sean Maher. I don't know how to say his name. He was the Dr. Simon guy, Simon Tam. And then, of course, Summer Glau, who was Simon's sister. And she, Joe, what do you think's up with her? Just, I want to go into that for a second.
So maybe I missed a little bit of their backstory, but he was saying that he like rescued her from some sort of something from the Alliance something.
It basically made it sound like they sent her to a gifted kids boarding school in space.
Yeah.
But then he saved her from the school because the Alliance was doing something bad to them.
Yeah. And they were kind of saying something about how like she's like special cargo, so it made me think that there's something up with her. Something sci-fi, I bet, and I'm not sure whether it's she's a clone or she's a robot or she's got like mind reading powers, but yeah, something's up. She's not just a girl. She's not just like I had to save her because she's my sister. Like there's something special about her that the Alliance wanted her.
Do you have a prediction about it?
I guess I don't. I
want to know.
one, though.
Do you have a prediction about it? Because I want to see if you can like guess what maybe.
Let's see. Like a clone or a robot wouldn't be that special in space, I guess. So maybe it's that she can. She was part of an experiment, or she got too close to a meteorite, and that gave her the power to move things with her mind.
Okay, so basically she has mind powers.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
All right. So that's River, and then the last like main character is Ron Glass, who plays Shepard Book.
He's great. Shepard is like a title of like a monk, it seems like.
Yeah, he kind of mentioned that he was like he's like, I've been out of the Abbey for 2 days and already have like punched a lawman and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Fallen in with criminals.
So,
and then Badger, the guy they're trying to sell the goods to, is Mark Shepard, who Josh noted he's from Supernatural.
Oh yeah, I didn't even know what his actual name was. He plays Crowley. He's the king of hell for a long time in Supernatural.
He's also in Battlestar Galactica.
Oh, nice. Okay.
He's been around the sci-fi world.
He went from one okay sci-fi show in Battlestar Galactica to the most amazing sci-fi fantasy show ever.
Have we done Battlestar Galactica?
No, we have not.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, you'll get another chance to name a show in a little bit, Jimmy.
I got to take a break from space shows because Joe's not into it.
Well, why don't we do predictions? Let's go into that now.
Cool.
Joe, I think you should go first.
Okay. So I have that River has telekinesis.
Yep.
She moves shit with her mind. The other ones that I had were some Western stuff. I said that there's a duel.
Nice.
Like, pistols at dawn type of duel. I think somebody cheats at poker. Maybe those two are related.
One can hope.
And then my last one is that I counted 9 in the main crew between Mal, Zoe, Wash, Inara, Jane, Kaylee, Simon, River, and Book.
Yep. Yep. I count 9 as well.
Yeah, no one in the main 9 dies.
Oh wow. Okay.
Because I think that they were banking on like this show going long, so they're like, no one dies. I was actually surprised that no one died in this first episode. I thought for sure that with so many characters that they would just like kill off somebody, but
it'd be a very Joss thing to do too. He loves killing off characters.
So I think by the end of this first season, I think they all survive.
Awesome.
Love it.
I'll do mine, Jimmy, and then you can do yours.
All right.
So I can't quite remember what the finale actually entails. I can't differentiate the finale from the Serenity movie that came after the show, but so I'm just doing fun predictions. My first one is that Wash says, "I'm a leaf on the wind," like
What?
he did in the first. He
did?
says, he says, "I'm a leaf on the wind."
All right.
And actually, in all fairness, he might have said that in the second episode, but I saw that one recently, so I can't quite remember. But I'm pretty sure he said it in this one. Either way. And then second one is Shepherd Book prays out loud, because in this first one he asked Mal if it was okay if he prayed over like said grace basically, and Mal said if you don't do it out loud. So
Yeah.
I
Do
think
you mind if I say grace? Only if you say it out loud.
Yeah, that's what he's gonna say. Only if you say it out loud. I think Kaylee wears a cowboy hat.
Nice.
And then
Cool.
my last one, I think Mal shoots his gun 5 or more times.
Okay.
Ooh,
So I'm going to have to do some math on that one.
do some counting. Okay, I have my Western one is that I think there's a lasso. And then, like I was saying, this makes me want to just watch Westworld. So I think there's a very lifelike robot. Like Westworld is about. There was a spot in this pilot where Captain Mal is telling all these new passengers about the food, like they're in the kitchen, and he's saying we have proteins of all colors or whatever of the rainbow, probably like speaking to what space food is like. So I think someone eats a pizza flavored protein pudding or whatever whatever it is in space. Pizza flavored pudding. And then I think there's going to be a non-humanoid alien. Possibly octopus monster like.
Ooh, I like that one.
That's my octopus monster prediction. Non-humanoid alien.
I'm into it. Okay, cool. Well, see, here's the deal. Now we have to go to the final episode, and Jimmy, you have some things to go over with that before we do that.
Yeah, so Fox really effed this up for everybody because the series was not aired as in its intended order. And of course, if they would have done it in Joss Whedon's order, it would have been a successful show that would be still on the air today.
Still on TV.
20 years later. Probably not. Although I did read something that said that Joss alluded that he intended this to be a 7-season arc. And it got 1. So who knows? Joss has a lot of stuff, though. Who knows? I also read that we're watching on Hulu, and this order I believe is the DVD that Fox eventually released it to DVD with all of the episodes because only 11 were aired and there's 14, and that this order is at least closer according to Joss than the intended order. He said close enough apparently. So he just seems like he's just kind of a disgruntled man sometimes but when it comes to this show. But so the actual last aired is not what quote unquote the intentional last aired is. So we're going to ask Joe. Leave it up to Joe. Do we want to watch what's on Hulu, what Hulu suggests, or what was physically aired last?
So from what I've gathered, for this first season, they shot and produced 14 episodes. And what we watched as the pilot was actually like not aired until way later. just because like Fox thought it wouldn't work well as a like pilot, which doesn't make sense because like this is the episode where they introduce everything.
Every single character.
Yeah. So I think, we started out going by, the intended story arc. So I think we should stick to that. So we watched Serenity, the first intended episode. I think we should end with whatever the last intended episode is, which I think is Objects in Space.
Correct. Yeah.
Because it looks like they shot 14 episodes in order, or not in order, but they produced them to be aired in order, and they ended up airing starting from number 2 all the way up to number 10, and then they aired number 14, and then they aired number 1.
Yeah.
And then the like 11, 12, 13 just like never aired in the US.
Right, they aired in the UK eventually, the following year.
Yeah, so what actually aired on Fox is all messed up. I think it makes way more sense to just go based off of what they actually intended.
Right, and I suppose also if anyone's gonna watch the show from when this airs till going forward, they're gonna watch the intended version anyway,
right?
Because of what it's on.
Because even if the listeners have the DVD, that's apparently what this order is. So
so even the physical media left of it is the intended order.
You'd have to intentionally watch it in aired order to do it this way.
Right. Okay, cool. So let's do that. Let's watch the intended final episode of this show. I guess technically it's the intended final episode maybe of season 1 if Joss wanted 7 seasons or whatever, but whatever. We'll see the final episode of Firefly called Objects in Space, and then we'll be back after that. All right, we're back with the intended final episode of Firefly called Objects in Space. Jimmy?
Space.
Do you have a write-up?
Yeah. River picks up a gun she finds in the cargo bay, which she sees as a tree branch. This frightens the crew into wondering if she is too dangerous to be let loose. Then bounty hunter Jabal Early sneaks aboard the ship in flight, incapacitates some of the crew, and captures Simon. River agrees to go with Early in exchange for leaving her brother and the ship in peace. However, she orchestrates a plan to dispose of Early, and then Mal confirms her place as a member of the crew.
Yay.
The end. Again, written and directed by Joss Whedon.
Hell yeah.
Whedon?
Really quick, the best quote of the whole show probably happened in this episode, and it was when they were trying to figure out what was up with River, and they were like, maybe she's psychic. And then Wash said, psychic, though? That sounds like science fiction. And then Zoe, his wife, said, we live on a spaceship, dear. That's pretty great.
Yeah.
Joe, thoughts? What are your thoughts? Here's the deal. Joe, I wonder what your thoughts are, because the whole time I watched it, I was like, yes, yes, love it. Yes, yes. That's it. So.
Definitely more spacey, but
this one was definitely more spacey, though. No horses in this one.
Completely on the ship this time. I really liked the Jubal Early character, the bounty hunter. He's just really interesting and like smart, and just like the way that he talked and like things.
Man, they made him within 30 seconds of him talking. They made him like one of the more terrifying bad guys in like TV for
just existential bounty hunter.
Well, like legit. I mean, how fucked up? Like he's super fucked. He was like super terrifying and then super interesting right away. Like the very first thing he said to, almost in the whole show, but he said to Kaylee when he was like about to like get rid of her, or like he was trying to get information from her. He was like, have you ever been raped? And it's like, holy shit, dude. No. What?
Yeah.
Once again, this is on Fox.
Yeah,
and
that's
it's
a good
like,
point.
okay, you're not human. You're a bad monster.
Mm-hmm.
And then like 3 minutes goes by, and he has a gun to Simon, and he's like talking about what makes a room, and if it has any purpose or whatever. And he like
Mm-hmm.
talks about all this other stuff, and I'm like, oh my god, 3 minutes ago I like legitimately was like, you made me throw up in my mouth because you're so terrible,
Mm-hmm.
and now you're super interesting.
Mm-hmm. And he's like wearing this all leather suit, and like whenever he moves around, he just squeaks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just like noticed that, and like even with scenes that like weren't even action scenes where he's just like talking, but they still edit in like the squeaking leather sounds. Like they don't want you to forget that he's wearing an all leather suit.
Yeah, he chose that.
Important
Well,
part
and
of the character.
it fits with him because he's like weird, right?
Mhm.
You know. Okay, so you liked him. I don't know. I mean, he was like almost half the episode, like as far as like quality story. You know.
Yeah, I was a little bit worried that like by the end he was gonna like turn into like part of their crew or something. So I was pretty satisfied that like he did just get jettisoned off into space at the end.
Mhm.
Like I'd like to, if this show were to keep going, I'd like to see him as like a kind of a recurring villain, but I don't want him like part of their crew.
Yeah, I wouldn't think that would happen in
Mhm.
this show, but he did a fun thing where I think they hinted at it at the beginning episode, and I think they hint at it throughout also. But when like someone said like, you're like, oh, you feel fine because you knocked out a preacher, and like Jubal looked at him, he's like, he ain't no shepherd, and he like kept going.
Yeah.
And I don't think they ever talk about it for real or ever actually address it, considering potentially this is, potentially hopefully going to be season 1 out of however many. So I think throughout this season, the shepherd being a shepherd is like, just every once in a while you're like, that's a little weird, right? I mean, in the first episode,
Yeah, he like kicked the ass of the like Alliance stowaway guy.
Mm-hmm.
and he knows a lot about ships, and stuff too.
Who's to say?
But yeah. So sorry, Joe. Do you have more to say about how much you loved this episode?
More just that like I was expecting something a little more like especially with this being an hour-long show, and with it only being 14 episodes, I was expecting something with more and like season-long arc. So I was expecting like a finale here, which we didn't really get. We just kind of got another episode.
I mean, it was tied to whatever the like previous episode was, because they were trying to figure out what to do with her because some big thing happened in the last episode or two.
Yeah, but it's literally a monster of the week because just like an evil bad guy drops in, and then by the end of the episode he's gone.
Yep, that's true.
So yeah, it does have to do with the you couldn't necessarily throw this episode anywhere because there was stuff in this episode that's affected by what had just happened. But I guess I was expecting like some sort of big bad that they're dealing with, or some heist that they're completing after a few episodes or something.
You wanted that lame duck of federal agent Lawrence to come back from the first episode?
No, I already forgot about that guy.
Yeah, he's terrible.
I forgot to mention that when that guy was revealed as like the Alliance informant in that first episode, I was like, who? Like, this guy was on the ship the whole time? Did I miss him earlier?
Exactly. Because
I
they're
think
trying
that's
to
the
make
po-
you
that's
think
the
it's
point.
the doctor or somebody.
Yeah.
They even try to make you think it's Shepard for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
For like literally 5 seconds.
But yeah, I mean, I liked it for what it was. I get why people liked the show. I guess it wasn't. It just, I was expecting there to be more of an arc, and that kind of being the impetus for people wanting to keep the show going. was like, oh, we got to see what's going on next, and not just like, we just like this. And
Sure,
just want more of it. Yeah.
So one fun fact about that guy you like, Jubal Early,
Mhm.
the actor who plays him is named Richard Brooks.
Mhm.
And I don't know if this was on purpose, but just for me and this 5 seconds of looking at it, I think it was on purpose. He was in The Crow, City of Angels, as a man named Judah Earl. And so he was Juba Early in this show in 2002.
Mhm.
And he was Judah Earl in 1996 in The Crow, City of Angels. So does Joss Whedon really like The Crow?
Like,
Don't
and not
we all?
even just The Crow, but like the second sequel to The Crow or whatever that is.
Right? Yeah, right. Yeah. Joss Whedon really loves the sequel to The Crow.
He's really into the Crowverse.
Well, he does love. No crow is more powerful in the verse. Obviously. So that was just a little fun like conspiracy theory that I want to spread around the internet. I just wanted to look at what this guy that guy had been in, because he was a good actor. He like convinced me of being like this like really weird, horrible, interesting like psychopath man, and I was like, you're a good actor.
You're a great sociopath.
Hey man, you find
Let
your
me
lane.
get closer to you.
I want to do more. I want to know more about you.
Yeah, I love it. So he was like the like kind of the plot of this, but then there was the whole deal leading up to that where River has grabbed a gun and she's walking around the ship, and you can't. I'm not even sure if we're actually supposed to believe she's walking around the ship, because she's like interacting with people's conversations and then hearing things they don't say but maybe are thinking or feeling. So she's like telepathy / empathy, maybe an empath. But like, is she actually even really there? Because some of the conversations you wouldn't have if there was a person obviously standing right there. So it was very interesting. And then it was like they're all sitting around the table, the crew, like wondering, like, what are we going to do with this lady? And it's like, I think Captain says, I think she's a mind reader. And then they're all like, is that real? So like there's been stuff leading up to this, like throughout the season, of like weird stuff's going on with River. She's shooting bad guys without looking at them. Kaylee like admits to the crew that River saved her life, and it was all like it's all just a game to River. She just doesn't really live in reality.
That's a superpower in 2020.
We could all be so lucky.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, so I mean, yeah, in a way, this wasn't like much of a finale by any means. Obviously, the show was probably meant to keep going at some point. Like, I mean, even if this was the end, like, no characters went away, nobody died, nobody like moved on, or like, you know, things didn't really change. It was kind of the same old. Like, obviously, things have happened since the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And story arcs have happened, but they weren't. I mean, honestly, it was barely even a season finale, really. Like this episode. So,
Right.
Bring Firefly back is what I'm saying.
I will say, Joe, there are like whole episodes that aren't on the ship. If that helps.
Yeah,
This
I
is
can
a
imagine.
ship-sode. There's like planet-sodes and there's ship-sodes.
Also, Joe, if this helps or hurts what you think, is that this episode in particular that we are watching, I mean, it's IMDb rated, so take that as you will. But on IMDb, it was user rated as the second best episode of the series.
This one was?
This one was. It's
Okay.
got the highest rate. It's got the highest rating by 0.1.
Is Serenity the highest?
No, I don't actually know where Serenity falls. Serenity's the 6th highest rated,
Really?
and that's actually tied with the 5th one. The best episode, Joe, was Out of Gas, which I believe is the 5th episode of the show. Yep, 5th episode with a 9.4. This last one got a 9.2 rating, followed quickly by Ariel with a 9.1 and a 9. Basically, every single episode of this show rated by people. I mean, I would assume most people probably went to IMDb and rated this show because they liked it. So take that with a grain of salt, obviously. But the lowest rated episode of the show is an 8.3. So it's pretty dang high. Joe, you love Breaking Bad, but I bet you would find one episode that you would rate a 7. You know what I'm saying? You know?
Oh yeah, for sure. There's a lot of not a lot, but there is some like
Turds. There's some turds. You could say it.
Some filler.
Especially in the earlier seasons.
Right. I mean, so just curious, out of all of us, obviously, I mean, honestly, right now, Joe, I'm like, I got 12 more episodes to watch to rewatch this entire show, and I'm pretty much in. Like, my nostalgia's back, and I'm ready to go. Does this make you want to watch it, though? Because you're the newcomer to the show. So that's my curiosity.
Still, like, I don't really have, like, maybe there was something to Fox being like, we got to start with a train episode.
Okay.
Because I feel like I still need more horses and lassos. I mean, again, cool stuff in this episode, but it was really, just surrounding that one cool character, and I didn't really get to see much of the world of Firefly in this, or even just like, not even locations, but of just like what are we dealing with here in terms of the Alliance and the Reavers and any other populations we got going on. It was a pretty contained episode, so it doesn't do much to whet the appetite.
Okay, yeah.
And maybe that's me being interested in like those types of things when I see like a sci-fi thing. So yeah, I don't know.
I'd be curious if you would be interested in watching the train episode, and then after that, if I question you for 5 seconds next week, and say,
was the train episode actually the second episode? So like that would be the next one I continue on.
It is on Hulu, so that's the way you would watch it naturally today. So
okay. I mean, who doesn't like a good train heist? I assume it's a train heist. That's like a classic Western thing. There was even a Breaking Bad episode with a train heist.
Nice.
Right? Yeah, exactly. So, Joe, watch that one. Get back to us.
Okay.
That's fair.
I'll do it November 1st because it's still spooky month for a couple more days.
Okay, yeah. It's not much. Yeah, there's not that many ghouls in the train episode of Firefly. So
You watching some spooky stuff?
Yeah, I'm trying to put my time into spookies.
Joe needs a spooky time. Speaking of spooky time, should we see how terrifyingly good we all did on our predictions?
Yeah.
Joe, you went first, so you might as well start us off again.
I said that River has telekinesis.
She definitely doesn't have telekinesis.
Because telekinesis is specifically moving stuff with your mind.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, telekinesis is definitely moving stuff.
Professor
I mean, you
X
said
is
she had
telepath.
You said she had mind powers before. I thought that's what you wrote. And I took that mildly being either way. I kind of feel like in the very first episode, potentially, Simon said she like feels everything or something. And then in the beginning of the episode when she was walking around the train, it kind of seemed like if she was near you, she basically understood you like fully.
Yeah.
As a person.
Well,
like,
another thing is it wasn't in this episode, but they discuss how when they ran into some bad guys, she was able to shoot all 3 of them without looking.
right.
So there is some sort of feel to that. I mean, granted, it might not be that she's moving the bullets with her mind, but she's just able to feel exactly where she needs to shoot.
Yeah. What I'm saying is I'm fighting to give you this point.
Okay.
That's what I'm.
We're just doing River Has Mind stuff for a full point.
Yeah.
All right.
She is mind something.
She's got a brain.
Fucked up.
I said there's a duel, which there's gun stuff, but there wasn't a duel.
Yeah. No duel.
Someone cheats at poker, which there wasn't even a saloon in this episode.
Just a mess hall.
Yeah, and then I said none of the main crew dies, which
True.
Yeah, they all survived, and I think they were all there, right? All 9 of them.
Yeah, we saw everybody this episode too. Yeah.
Yeah. So point for that then. Wow, nailed it.
Dang.
Was that all? That was all 4. All right. Hey, that's good. You got 2, huh?
Can we revisit that telekinesis one?
Recount on that.
I mean, here's the deal. It's not doing me any favors because I got a solid 0. I said that Wash says I'm a leaf on the wind. He never did. I don't think he even piloted the ship at all.
Had a couple lines.
Shepard book prays out loud. Shepard was unconscious for 90% of this episode. I said Kaylee wears a cowboy hat. No, I wish she would have wore a cowboy hat and had a good time. Instead, she got threatened and tied up. And then my other one was that Mal shoots his gun 5 times and no gun even.
0 times.
We only saw 1 gun, and that was Jubil's. So I'm gonna take a big old donut.
Nice. I said I wanted a lasso. No lasso. No lifelike Westworld robots. Nobody eats any pizza flavored space food.
Nope. No one eats food, I don't think.
No food. And no octopus monster aliens. So,
All right.
as far as we know.
Well, according to this, it pays to not know what the show is during this podcast. Good job, Joe. Way to get points for everybody. Appreciate it. All right. Well, hey, I guess that kind of wraps up Firefly. Hopefully we did it justice because it's a dope show. This is first and last. If you want to get a hold of us and give us show suggestions or just, tweet nice comments to us, nothing mean because we can't handle it. It's at F&L Podcast on the Gmail or on the Twitters. Also, you can rate us 5 stars or subscribe to us if you would like. That would be fantastic and we would like it. Hopefully, wherever you are right now, it's after the election and everything's fine and nothing's on fire. And if America is still here next week, we will see you then. Have a good week. Joe, watch the train heist because I'm going to ask you about it. We'll see you then. Goodbye, everybody.
I will at least read the Wikipedia.
Damn it. The Clifford's notes.
The cleft notes.
Probably gotta go let a puppy outside.